I'm Tim, welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Panerai Luminor Marina PAM 70, 40 millimeters in brushed stainless steel. You can buy this Panerai Luminor on our website, watchyouwant.com, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see there are two defining features of this PAM 70. The first is the vertically grained metallic blue dial, a real standout, and the second is the 40 millimeter case size. Now you can see it does wear differently than the 44, but when you hear 40 millimeters and you think sports watch, you're going to conclude Rolex. That's where all paths lead. And basically, when you've got a 40 millimeter Panerai Luminor, you can more easily make a one-to-one cross-reference and comparison with Rolex Submariners, with Rolex Sea Dweller 40s, with GMT Master 2s, and Rolex owners who may not have considered Panerai can look at this watch and perhaps picture it on their wrist more easily. You can see that it doesn't sit terribly high for what it is, a big chunky watch with an automatic movement and a date for that matter. It does have a reasonably planted stance and with a conical, heavily raked bezel. You can see how a dress cuff, even a tight sleeve, can easily get a running start and ride up and over this watch. It's fairly light. As a cushion case, it's basically as wide as it is tall. The lugs are nice, short, and constrained. And speaking of dress cuffs, I want to get back to that. This is just a little bit more formal a look for a Panerai Luminor than we're used to seeing. In addition to the subdued elements of the brushed lugs, bezel, and case, we also have this unusual for a Luminor black monotone stitch alligator leather strap. Now they're generally on an untreated calf or assolutamente strap or a rubber strap for aquatic use. It's just uncommon to see them on the more formal dress inflected alligator leather. And here's another uncommon refinement for a Panerai watch. Not just a deployant clasp in place of the usual trapezoidal pin buckle, but a twin trigger double deployant with a matching subdued brushed stainless steel finish that corresponds nicely to that of the case and keeps the profile low. Now all elements are very high quality here. It is beautifully finished and it feels just as good in the hand. With the twin trigger deployant feature, you know that this one's not going to come popping open. But despite the fact that it is robustly built and secure when closed, it does have a pared down profile, so when it's actually fitted and buckled up, it does have the look of a traditional pin buckle. Nice and low profile, elegant, in keeping with the overriding theme of the PAM 70. Now, the shape is the classic Betterini case, so not the more heavily contoured 1950, and this one is scaled down just a bit more for greater elegance and versatility. And moving inboard from that somewhat scaled down, pared down Panerai profile with the discreet brushed steel, you can see a completely unusual dial arrangement for Panerai. Now, vertically grained blue metallic, and of course the applied indices and numerals, so it's also a sausage dial in contrast to the stenciled sandwich dial. This is the kind of look that Panerai collectors may remember from the Firenze series, like the 224, the 228, the 229 blue metallic dial watches, or the PAM 82. It's that sort of blue. It's not the beyond blue of something like a PAM 168 Laureus chronograph, or even the Rolex Milgauss Z blue for you Rolex collectors out there looking for a frame of reference. This is a more discreet blue, halfway between a slate blue and something like a cobalt. It's very elegant and it contrasts beautifully with the white printed elements and the almost light key lime luminova elements of the indices, the Arabic numerals, and the fill of the hands. But you can see that it does play as a classic Panerai Luminor. Plenty of legibility, day or night. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. In my experience, the sausage dials actually glow brighter than the sandwich dials. They don't have that same carved out depth to each glowing element, but they are more visible. They are brighter. That torch-like party favor that you bring whenever you turn off the lights with the Luminor around, you get more of that with the sausage dial. And what you also get is a gorgeous, nuanced inset seconds hand at 9 o'clock. There's a beautiful concentric circular guillot shape pattern that, along with the strong vertical striation of the metallic graining, really adds definition, character, and I believe a lot of visual animation to this dial, further distinguishing it from the pack. But it does have the essential Panerai features that have defined the model Luminor since it became an icon in 1993 with the very first civilian examples. And the dominant feature is that classic shape, the legibility of the dial, and the device protecting the crown. Now, we talked about Rolex briefly earlier and how this is a bit of a Panerai for the Rolex collector. Well, speaking of Rolex, Rolex manufactured all of the Italian Panerai combat dive watches built for the Marina Militare from the 30s through 1956. What Panerai introduced in 1950 was this device, patented in 1956. It uses a locking cam lever to secure the crown in place of a threaded screw-down arrangement, and that has three benefits. First, it protects the crown from all aspects, whereas a Rolex screw-down oyster, even with shoulder guards, which, by the way, didn't exist at the time, you could still directly apply a blow to the crown that would disable the watertight security, damage the threading, damage the stem, compromise the watch. Here, there's far more protection. The locking lever, easily accessed with a single pull, whether your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved, all of which can complicate use of a screw-down crown. You can easily access the crown now. It's completely unlocked and it moves freely to wind the watch, or if I choose, I can also pull it out and set the watch. Now, having easy access to the crown from the moment the lever is unlocked also has another advantage, which is that I don't have to thread the crown through the seals over and over again to access the functions of the watch, which can quickly compromise the watertight integrity of a watch over many resettings, many windings, exactly the kind of high maintenance, high wear Achilles heel that military planners and standard issue planners wanted to avoid. All of those advantages are maintained to this day in the device protecting the crown. Another feature beloved of Paneristi collectors is the ability to easily swap out straps. Now, this Alligator is a beautiful piece, but while Alligators have no problem with water, leather is another matter. With a small screwdriver, you can easily swap out the strap and even swap out the clasp. You can put it on the small universe of aftermarket options available, and strap swapping is part of the Panerai experience, so I strongly recommend it. For whatever reason you may buy this watch, believe me, you're going to want to have at least one spare set of shoes. And it's easy to do. You can do it at home. Just take a screwdriver, and in 5 minutes, you're going to have a completely new watch with a completely different look. This watch does have the 300-meter, 1,000-foot water resistance that's commonly associated with most Luminor models, so once you swap out the leather, it is ready to get wet. Now, inside is what's known as the Panerai caliber Op3 Movement. So based on the Tough Value 7750, it's an efficient unidirectional winder with a 42-hour power reserve and a key distinction. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. So just like the Rolex superlative chronometer, a made-up term by the way, this watch is up to the COSC's precise timing standards. Tested in 6 positions and 3 temperatures over 2 weeks, this watch has passed the third-party evaluation, and it's worth mentioning that these days, with the Panerai in-house movements, this is an uncommon distinction that is no longer sought. So not only is this a discontinued and uncommonly seen model, but even the COSC certification itself on the Panerai Luminor is becoming a bit of a rarity these days. You can see this Panerai Luminor Marina PAM 70 with a gorgeous blue striated metallic brushed dial on our website, watchyouwant.com.